Այսօր մենք հանդիպում ենք Ripsime Paronikյանի հետ, ով Հայաստանում կանանց հիմնադրամի ամենամեծ եւ ամենանվիրված աջակիցներից է։ Մենք շատ շնորհակալություն, որ համաձայնեցիր ունենալ այս զրույցը, քո պատկերացումների մասին խոսել, քո դիրքորոշումների մասին խոսել, մեզ համար շատ կարևոր է, որ դու այդպես ազատ կարող ես արտահայտել քո կարծիքը այն ամեն ինչի մասին, ինչ որ դու ես անում եւ մենք ինչ կարող ենք անել նաեւ այդ մտքերի մեջ, հա, քո մտքերի մեջ։ Ես ուղղակի կխնդրեմ քեզ, հա, նախ պետք է ասեմ, որ շատ շնորհակալ եմ, որ նաև առավոտյան ժամի միացել ես, որովհետև մենք ժամային տարբերություններ ունենք։ Դու հիմա Լոս Անջելեսում ես, չէ՞։
Այո, ես հիմա Լոս Անջելեսում եմ, շատ առավոտ չի, այն տանց,
Okay, շատ լավ
ժամանակ։
Okay, շատ ավելի լավ։ Ես կխնդրեմ քեզ մի քիչ ներկայանաս եւ քո մասին մի քանի բան ասես, ինչով ես զբաղվում եւ ընդհանրապես ինչպես պատահեց, որ հանդիպեցիր Գոհարին եւ կանանց հիմնադրամի գործունեությանը։
Okay, yeah, of course. So I think I'll say it in English because I'm probably a little more comfortable with the expression. So just a little bit about me. I own a little small business here in Los Angeles. I do mathematics education. So I do mostly high school, college, test preparations, like that. And I'm really passionate about women's rights and also, you know, feminist rights, women and girls, especially being an Armenian woman myself. So I found you guys because I was looking for an Armenian organization, a women's organization to donate to that does work in Armenia for women and girls in Armenia. So I was on the internet researching and I came across your site and I was really impressed and taken aback by all that you do. And I love that it's a resource center that provides resource to women because I do believe that if you provide the resources, women are so strong and so resilient, they will do what's right for them. So I decided to, you know, support your cause. And after a few months, Goha reached out to me and she said she wanted to thank me and meet me in person. And I said, you know, I'm in Los Angeles. I would love to meet you, but I think we're in a different location. And she said, it's interesting. I'm going to be in Los Angeles. So I got the opportunity to meet her last summer, and what a pleasure. She's such a beautiful soul, and she told me a lot about your organization. We had an opportunity to talk for a long time about some of the challenges you experienced, and some of the beautiful work you're doing, and also how we can all help. So I wanted to be more a part. And that's kind of how I got to know your organization. And today I get to meet you. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I really want people who will be watching this to know that actually you have started kind of a campaign on your birthday, and you actually organized crowdfunding on your birthday, and you basically donated everything to the Women Fund Armenia, which is an amazing thing, and thank you so much for that, because people like you are the ones who are really supporting, and you're so devoted, and you really want to help the women who are doing something here in Armenia. Thank you so much for that as well. I think it was really amazing, and I remember the pictures and everything was so beautiful on that day.
Thank you. We had so much fun. This is before quarantine when I could get it done.
Yes.
Just keep it short. But we had a really great time. It was wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you for that. It was really unprecedented for the Women's Fund. And I think you were one of the first people who organized something like that. So it may become something that other people will pick up as well, and maybe, I don't know, and they will also maybe they will really want to donate to the women in Armenia as well. What I was going to ask you is really related to that event. How did you come up with the idea? What was your biggest driving thing to organize something like that?
Well, when I think of my life, I feel really blessed in what the freedoms and some of the privileges I have here in America as an Armenian woman. And when I thought of my birthday coming around, I really wanted to, I didn't really need anything. I don't need anything. I have everything I need. And I wanted to do something that was a little bit bigger than I was, and maybe get more money than I give myself. So I decided to ask my guests to donate to the cause instead of giving me gifts. And so that's how that came about. And there would be no other charity or an organization that I could think of donating than you guys, because of how much I believe in your work, and how I just imagine myself, if I didn't come here when I was 10 years old, I might need you if I was in Armenia. And so many women I know need you guys in Armenia. And so I know I can't be there to do the work you guys do. Like, what I did is no comparison to what you guys do. I had fun and I collected money, and you guys are there doing the hard work. You really are. You're fighting a good fight, and I just wanted to contribute in some small way. So that's kind of how that came about. Yeah.
It was a great contribution. Also, we started to know you, and we got to know you, and this is, I think it's a very important tie to have people around us that and we are trying to really have allies with us at Women Fund, because the situation with women's rights in Armenia is not really good currently, and also I think about the backlashes against the women's movement and feminist movement in Armenia. But I also wanted to ask you, do you consider yourself a feminist, or would you consider yourself a feminist? What are your feminist ideas?
Absolutely. I remember, I love my culture and I love my people. But I remember growing up as a girl in Armenia and feeling less than, or feeling that there was glass ceiling, or that there were certain things that I was not going to be able to accomplish. And always wondering about that, like, why do my, let's say, male cousins have some of the freedoms that I don't get to enjoy? And I've always fought for that. I've fought for, and also just some of the, as the subculture, that unless you've lived with the culture, you don't know exists, So I definitely I would consider myself a feminist. The way I see myself as a feminist is that I believe women have the right to, and should have the right and the opportunities to choose their lives. And there's a saying that you can judge the progression of a culture from the way it treats its women. And so I really believe we need to do better with the women. We are the life givers, we are the life source, and we contribute so much. And there's no reason that women should be treated any less than the beautiful beings that they are. And I do, and so that's kind of how I see it. And I do believe that everyone should have the right and opportunities, regardless of their gender.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your thoughts. It's really inspiring also to have a young woman who is having this kinds of thoughts and openly saying that she's a feminist, because most of the people in Armenia are hesitating. Most of the women especially are hesitating to call themselves a feminist, but at the same time they can do they can have activities and do things that you could consider as feminist. This is really important. Yes.
And I think everyone kind of has to come on board, right? It's not a very it may not be a popular term, but it's an important one. And I think it starts from re-educating our children, right? So so that they can see it in a more positive light instead of seeing it as a negative thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and what do you actually think about women's rights in Armenia? I know you haven't been in Armenia for many years, I suppose, but what do you, in your observation, how is the situation, and what would you suggest to, as you said, for instance, educating children is important, and what else would you suggest?
You know, that's a good question. I think that I wish I could get to know the culture now more so than what I remember it to be, which was many years ago. So I'm sure there's been progress that's been done with the culture, and I hope that there has been progress that's been done with the culture. I would say probably the relationships within the home, and also the resources provided to the women who, let's say, may, for example, domestic violence. It's not just solely exclusive to Armenians. You know, American women go through it as well. It's just that here there is a stigma to it, and there are resources available to women who are suffering from domestic violence. Not anywhere near what it should be, but there is a understanding that domestic violence is wrong. And I'm not sure if that understanding is there. Maybe you can let me know about that, but sure what that situation is for Armenian women. I know that in my conversations with Gohar, she talks about that femicide is still a real issue in Armenia, right?
Yes, it is.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, and the problem, I think, one of the main problems, I would say, is that most of the people are not recognizing the violence as violence. So we're living in this in a normative way that we were used to live, and we are used to live, and many of us are not. We're just not recognizing the violence. I guess we still have a lot to do in this vein, and I think most of the legislations should be really adopted as soon as possible. We have, of course, the domestic violence law and other laws about this, but some of the international documents will be very timely to have in Armenia as well, because they will reinforce this idea that women's lives are important.
Absolutely, and so valuable, you know, especially within our culture. I know that I grew up learning how to be almost like a Renaissance woman. Like we learned how to do everything, you know, go to school, learn how to cook, learn how to clean. So there's so much value to that, you know, let's say other nationalities may look at that and go, wow, like, you know how to do all of that. And yet an Armenian woman's expected to know how to all that, to do all that, instead of like valued for those qualities. Right. And I also think that the change needs to happen within governments and officials, and like if there's more women elected into power, into legislature, if there's men who are in the police departments, who are detectives, who are lawyers, doctors. Of course, we have a lot of lawyers and female lawyers and doctors, but in higher positions that can legislate, so they can legislate for women's rights.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we really need to have women, and there are already some of the women in the new parliament in Armenia. They are really kind of trying to promote the importance of women's rights and how it is important to have certain legislations. So yes, I think we're in that terms, in these terms, we are really positive. I am positive, at least. So that we have allies maybe in the parliament. I don't know. We still have to check that.
Yes, and it takes time, because sometimes even, you know, with having those appointments, it's always a guarantee that they won't feel the pressure not to, you know, err on the side of caution, as opposed to making leaps in progress. But that's, I think, the safety and health of women, both psychologically, emotionally, because suppression, when you put lips, that's also abusive too. And for a girl who has all these dreams and ambitions, it's very abusive to feel that she can't have those things, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So even as subtle as that little thing can cause such a big drastic change. So I would love to see more education in schools and other programs that are maybe infiltrating the younger people as to how to treat each other, how to treat women, how to treat men, how to treat girls. And I know that a lot of that cultural education falls on the parents in our community, in our church, but it would be nice to have a lot more of that and to educate on domestic violence and those kinds of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think your focus is mostly on education, because you're also doing such a great job in the education sphere. Yeah, and right now I think in Armenia as well, we really need to have some gender sensitive education as well, because we're seeing this based on many researches already conducted by us and some other colleagues in Armenia, that we're lacking some good gender education in schools in Armenia, which is really bringing to much problems in the future when they are becoming adults and they are behaving in certain ways.
Yes. And also for children who grow up in the opposite of what they should experience, it gives them the reality of what's possible, or lets them know that this is not okay, so that they can make different choices in the future as well. And then also educating the police when they do come across anything like that, they handle it more sensitively, right? More gender neutral and not centered on the male privilege. So I think it could start with programs in Armenia, because that's how change happens, right? Is with a new generation sometimes. So yeah, we really need to continue the work, I guess, and just push the idea of having more sensitive environments in schools and in police as well. Yes, you've just aptly mentioned that. It's really important, because we also have a very important, we need to have an important ally in the name of the police of Armenia, because they are the basic ones who are dealing with the domestic violence issues as well, especially domestic violence and sexual violence in Armenia. Right. And so the questions of what did you do to cause it are not asked, or how bad is it? It's not asked. It's a neutral situation for everybody, and it empowers women. I mean, granted, domestic violence is never easy for anyone. Even in America, where there are so many laws against domestic violence, women have been so abused for so long that they don't know how to exert their own rights. But it stepped forward, I feel.
I have a kind of a provocative question. It just came to my mind, and I really want to just bouncing out of me. Sure. Would you see yourself coming back to Armenia and doing something in order to more sensitize the education in our gender sensitize the education system in Armenia?
Absolutely. I would need you guys' help, because obviously I don't want to be insensitive and just bring like my own stuff and say this is how it's got to be. We have to work with the culture and where people are at the time, meet them where they are, and still work with them and start cause change. I think those extreme cases need to be implemented right away. Like the violence needs to stop. That's an absolute thing, needs to be done right away. And the education can support the continuation of that implementation, right? So I would love that. I had plans of coming this summer or spring-ish, but with the COVID, it's been kind of difficult. But until then, I want to support you guys as much as I can. I had other fundraising ideas in mind, and then this happened, and it's kind of halted a lot of our progress, right?
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, but I really hope that we'll have this opportunity to, you know, to bring back that, I don't know, a part, at least the part of this all this time and all the plans that we've had to make the things better. I don't know, to live more positive lives, maybe. I think especially for Armenians, it's really important to be a bit more positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. I have a quick question. I know you may have questions for me too, but
Yes.
What has been your role within the organization, and how have you like enjoyed it, or what's been your experience?
Oh yes, I mean, I thank you for that question. I love what we are doing at the fund in Women's Fund Armenia, because what we are doing is actually meeting new people that we could never meet in other, you know, I wouldn't have any chance to meet these wonderful women around Armenia, you know. We have many partners now from all over Armenia, from each region, and the way they are, and their enthusiasm, the way they are working on their projects, the way they are really caring about what they do, it really gives me hope that we are doing something good. Well, kind of officially, I'm the program coordinator at the Women's Fund Armenia, and we're having, but we're trying to have this shared work, you know, where we're trying to reach out to each other and to help each other to establish the fund, because it's pretty new as well. We have many partners already here in Armenia, and great supporters in also in diaspora, also you, of course. I think this is I really love the things I do here, and I really love the people. I really love the people I've met here. It's really wonderful. The chances that you are having while working in a pretty small yet organization.
Yes, and it brings about like minds, right? So,
yes.
I'm not sure you probably I'm not sure if you identify yourself as a feminist, but to
Yeah.
be around other feminists, to be around other women who are fighting for the same cause, who have the same values, it's healing. And to know that there's others who see the problems that you see, and it's not just in your head, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And I
beautiful.
think, thank you. And I think what is important for me as well is that we're not pushing every single woman that we are partnering with to identify as feminists, because we know that that they are really, I don't know, they can be in certain areas that and they can, and then they may feel vulnerable to call themselves feminists. So we're not pushing that idea. As long as you're with us, and as long as you're doing your amazing projects, your amazing ideas, we are not really imposing anything on you. That's really wonderful. That climate that we have in the fund is really important for me, and I think for all my colleagues there.
That's great, because it's about the work and not the title, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's wonderful. That makes me very happy too.
Thank you. And also your questions are actually giving me the space to kind of reflect on what I am doing as well. These questions are very important, because you're trying to self-check all the time whether you are doing the right thing, especially with all the backlash against feminism and women's rights in all over the world right now, I would say. And you're always trying to stop and have a look at what you are doing, and try to understand whether it is important right now. And then you realize that you have so many amazing women around you, and they are wonderful. They are really wonderful. I really hope that you will have the chance, when you will be here finally, you will have the chance to meet them. It's really amazing. It's so inspiring.
You know, and I would love to do more work with you guys here too, where I can, get some of the female entrepreneurs on board here, who are female entrepreneurs. Get the community involved, right?
Yeah.
To see how they can help and how they can inspire women there, even if it's Skype calls where we give advice to some of the women there, or we support them, we let them know that we're here for them, that we see them, we hear them, we know their struggles, and they keep going. I think all of that, the morale is really important too.
Yeah.
So in any way I can continue to be of support, and just Terry, obviously, I'm happy to do that. And then I can't wait to be able to travel and meet you. And I mean, look at this. I would have never met you had I not. This has been such a blessing because I adore Gohad and I
yeah,
so it's been a wonderful journey.
Yeah, that's really wonderful to, you're just meeting people sometimes out of nowhere, and you really feel the connection, and you're absolutely blessed. I totally agree with you. Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Gohar's not back yet, has she? She hasn't come back yet.
She's still there. She's still in LA. Yeah. No. Yeah. And I also wanted to ask you about we always have this debate, I think, around, like-minded people, among like-minded people, of course, but, and also some diasporans who are living in, repatriates, as we can call them. We are always having these discussions whether it is better or worse in terms of women's situation, Armenian women's situation in diaspora or in Armenia, and in Armenia. What would be your thoughts about that? How do you think? Do you think Armenian women in diaspora are living, I don't know, more, or maybe it's different? What would be your thoughts about that?
That's interesting. That's a very good question. I guess I can compare it to myself as an Armenian woman in diaspora. Technically, would I have the same quality of life if I lived in Armenia? I don't know, because to be honest, I'm not sure how far the culture has progressed. I think that there is a sense of the culture from the American culture has seeped into the Armenian families. So I know that violence physical violence is not a big issue here for the women in the diaspora, because I think that the laws of the land supersede some of that cultural. So in that regard, I'd say that there's not that much violence, physical violence. There tends to be, a mixture of American values with Armenian values that are mixed into Armenian families now. I personally, I have such a free life. I don't know if I could have that there. I want to say that I would, because there's women who do in Armenia, I'm sure, like you and Goha, others are creating that beautiful life for themselves. But you're going against the current in a way. You're definitely swimming against the current. I will say that the differences are Armenian women don't necessarily feel limited by education, because education is so highly valued in Armenia. I guess I could say I never felt limited by education as an Armenian girl growing up there. There may be some limitations for women, let's say in America. Like American women are still facing a lot of challenges too. Like we're not getting paid as much as our counterparts. Certain careers are not as highly sought after by women. Like for me to get a math degree, that was not normal for an American woman. But it would have been very normal for an Armenian woman, let's just say. But so there's a difference there. But I think overall, maybe the safety might be a little bit higher here or other places. I'm not sure, from just conversations with Gohaj.
Yeah. I guess in terms of education, I don't think we're having a bigger challenge right now, because the education and especially the school education is absolutely free in Armenia, and and for certain years you're obliged to go to school. And after a couple of years you can drop out, of course, and not continue or something like that. But I think what we're facing here is that, you know, this really conflict between women, not really between women, but the situation. It's actually a bit of a conflicting situation, because women in Armenia and young girls are very good in education. But then when you see the labor market, when you are looking at the statistics in the labor market, you are seeing this connection between their education, the numbers in education, and then the numbers in the higher positions in decision making positions in labor market and also in politics. So you're just having this decline in women's representation here.
Yes, and that's, I would say it's probably a little better here, not by much. We're still fighting those same fights here, believe it or not, for a progressive country as America. We still get excited when we have women senators or female congresswomen, governors or mayors. So it's still very, very similar in the fight. I think it's a global issue for women to have power. Some places are much more evolved than others, but I think that it is it's the patriarchal society that's just everywhere, mostly, you know.
Yeah. Well, the system is actually kind of forcing things that we're not really. Sometimes we really don't want to follow. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why there's such a imbalance, I feel, with the world. I think we need both feminine and masculine and everyone's input, and people who come together. I think it's just been so masculine driven for so long. It's just created an imbalance in the world in so many areas, the financial industry, in the political arena, in all of these arenas. It's just created such an imbalance.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's for betterment, everyone, for there to be a representation of both sexes as opposed to just one. It creates a more healthy community in a city. Yeah,
I agree with you. Yes, and as a kind of a conclusion for this conversation, I hope we will have, I don't know if you will be willing and you will have time for this, so we can actually continue this conversation, because I think it will be very interesting for our audience as well to hear your thoughts and explore what you're thinking about the challenges for women in the US and in Armenia. And maybe after coming to Armenia, you will have more, you know, I don't know, more experience-based ideas on what to do here and how to promote the women's rights and women's movement here in Armenia. But as a conclusion, I would say I would like to ask you to, I don't know, what will be your message to women in Armenia? What is your what would you suggest them to do now?
Ooh, wow.
Anything that could empower them here, women here in Armenia.
That they are worthy, that they are strong, and yes, they're going to have a lot of resistance, because unfortunately that's the reality of what they're facing. But they can get it. They can face it and get through it, and to not settle for anything other than their greatness, because they're truly great. So whatever their dreams are, whatever their goals, ambitions, life dreams, life plans, to just really, really go for it and stand the. And yes, it's unpopular and it'll be difficult, but it'll be so worth it. So worth it. And I just want them to know that they're heard, they're seen, and they have sisters across the continents and across the oceans that really channel a lot of good for them. So it's not just a monetary, but I really channel so much for my Armenian sisters because they are brilliant and they're strong, beautiful, and powerful, and everything that they need is within them. And to create a support system, because if we get together, then no one can break us apart. If we bring all our resources, all our intelligence, all our abilities together and work together, there's no breaking us apart. And so to continue doing that and to continue to fight. And for you, I want to thank you for your work, because you're in the trenches, you're doing the hard work, and I'm so grateful that there's women like you out there who can advocate for women who and girls who can't do it for those right now.
Thank you very much, Ripsime Jan. Thank you so much, and for your kind words and for your time, for everything you're doing here and there, I would say. Yeah, I think I think that I could have many other questions, but I really don't want to take too much time from you. And also, I think it will be really good to maybe continue the conversations with you if you're up for that. It will be really amazing to continue this.
Yes, I have some side notes about the community and what's going on and some of the progress you guys have made, because I know you have made a lot of progress. And in any way I can help, like I said, any way I can help, you know, even if it's a Zoom call with someone who needs it, I'm here. Okay. We're here for you guys.
Thank you.
And whatever we can do to support you in your hard work. Thank
you. That's so kind of you. Thank you very much. I think this was one of the heartiest conversations that I've had, and I'm so glad that I had you as my guest. It was a great chance to also meet you while in person. But I really hope that we'll meet soon in person as well. Yeah. Thank you very much, Ripsime Jan.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you, honey. Good luck.
Thank you.